Hello, my precious students, and welcome to another deck review that, again, nobody asked for, but we are still giving. This week's challenge from Mimikyu was over Fiend archetype. The given archetype for me was Infernities. Now, I want to say that I did not expect anything good to come out of Infernities. Infernities has been an archetype that has been pretty much dead from competitive use for quite some time. But after this week's challenge and actually playing against it with Bucky, Mimikyu, and Keisetsu over stream, I have found that boy could I not be more wrong. Even though it's gotten some OCG support, I also find that it doesn't really need the OCG support because even though Wildcat can discard an Infernity monster from hand to special summon itself, you can run any level 3 tuner and just be fine if you're playing it for the TCG version. Because what I've found is that I'm more likely going to special summon it off of Saruja's Skuldred than any other way. And that has been perfectly fine for me. I also had learned that Gilasaurus is still viable. If you're going as an extender for a first turn play, your opponent does not have to have a monster in their graveyard for you to be able to special summon this card from hand. That is a choice effect. Your opponent can choose to special summon a monster from their graveyard if Gilasaurus is special summoned. That is an absolute option. So if they don't have a monster in their graveyard, you're not out of luck. You can special summon Gilasaurus and still continue on some serious, amazing plays. Not only that, but it's searchable off of Fossil Dig. So essentially, in this build, you're running 6 Gilasaurus. You have Tour Guide of the Underworld, or from the Underworld, sorry, at 3. So why not utilize that? And since majority of the deck is of level 3 monsters, you have Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Get another Fiend in the graveyard. Typically, you're going to send Archfiend Harris to add Infernity Archfiend if you choose to. Otherwise, it could be any Fiend. It doesn't necessarily have to be level 3. But because the majority of the deck is level 3, it's great to run Cherubini, Ebon, Angel of the Burning Abyss. Now, I may have gone over a little bit of myself here explaining some of these cards. So let me just go ahead and give you straight up the deck profile, what you see here. So we're first going to go off with Infernity General. I've never actually used its effect. I've actually ended up normal summoning it as a joke, but I have set up for if I needed the effect. And then one Infernity Archfiend. Every Infernity deck needs this card. And then triple Stygian Street Patrol. I did not know how good this card is. You get it sent to the graveyard. You can special summon a Fiend monster from your hand. And then Infernity Patriarch. Haven't really got to use this card too terribly much in their fun duels. I never really see it pop up. However, it does special summon itself if it's the only card, so it adds an extension, allowing Infernities to basically have no cards on their head, which is something that they want. Fiendish Rhino Warrior, 2 of these. One, it's searchable from Tour Guide from the Underworld, and then once it's sent to the graveyard, its effect just goes off. So you can send it off any other way, so long as you send it to the graveyard. It just does not even have to be from field to just get it to the graveyard. Triple Gilasaurus, again, I already talked about that. It's an extender. It's a searchable extender, so you can keep on going into your plays. And then I normally typically don't do this, but I'm throwing in this OCG card, Infernity Wildcat. Again, you can replace this with any level 3 tuner. Could be Fiend, not Fiend, what have you. You're going to be able to special summon Alpha Surge or Skuldred just fine, so long as it's level 3, and maybe a Fiend is also a good choice. Triple Tour Guide from the Underworld basically gives you access to a good portion of your deck, so long as it's a fiend. So there's that. Archfiend Harris, again, you want to be able to drop this to search out your Infernity Archfiend, which actually is super easy to do in this build. There is absolutely no reason you would not be able to get Infernity Archfiend into your hand. And then triple Infernity Necromancer. I've actually never really had to use this card's effect too terribly often. I've actually thought about, dropping it down to 2 or something like that, but it's been pretty good as a level 3 and it's searchable. So, and then triple Infernity Randomizer. It's potentially a draw card for the deck, and since you're running majority of the monsters, you should be able to get at least the burn effect off. If not, yeah. But at least it's a potential draw, and then you can continue on with more plays afterwards. And then one Infernity Avenger as an extra tuner monster, and that's pretty much all he's there for. And then since you're running primarily darks, Allure of Darkness has actually been a really great card. There isn't in a time where Allure of Darkness is actually dead, because you want to be able to get your other combo plays to get going. And then one for one, again, you want to discard cards out of your hand to get rid of, so that your Infernities can make their effects and all sorts of things. And then Fossil Dig, of course, triple of those for Gilasaurus. One Foolish Burial to get a potential playoff if you can't get cards into your graveyard by monster effects. You can at least send them off this way. Not necessary, but it's actually kind of nice. One Monster Reborn, because who doesn't like those generic revivals? One Into the Void, of course, you want to be able to have that extra draw, but because it discards your entire hand, that makes it really good here in Infernities, which is why I would love to have it at 3. But it's at 1 for very good reasons. And then one Infernity Launcher. I never got to see this card, but then again, it's at 1, and if I was able to see it more, then maybe Infernities will have more and better plays. And the next one, Infernity Break. This only really works if you have no cards in your hand, but again, Infernity, it's not that really hard with Infernities. So, yeah. And then, as you're always going to have an Infernity monster of some sort, where it's low level or high level, it don't matter. Triple Infernity Barrier, so that you can actually negate your opponent's effects, which is actually really nice. Into the extra deck, we're going to go in and say, hey, look, there's a Synchro monster, level 8, Void Ogre Dragon. Again, you're not going to have any cards, so you can stop your opponents from doing some spell and traps. Borrowed Savage Dragon. You actually do quite a bit of link plays in this deck, so it wouldn't be that hard to turn around and be able to go into Borrowed Savage Dragon and get either a Link 4 or a Link 2 equipped to it. And then 200 Eyes Dragon. Yes, you're going to have some Dark Tuners to get him out, and a lot of them are going to be Fiends, so why not? One Herald of Arc Light. This is where your level 1 tuner typically comes into play, or one of your level 1s and then a level 3 tuner monster comes into play. Herald of Arc Light is actually kind of nice to see on the board, and your opponent typically does not expect it in Infernities. And to add on to the Salt as an extra level 3 tuner, Metal Marcher, my bad. And then after that, more tuners, Formula Synchron. You don't necessarily need to go into this, but I like to have that extra draw to see what else I can do. So that's why Formula Synchron's in here. And then one Abyss Dweller. You can get into this card You don't necessarily need to be able to get into this card, but you can. So it's in there as an option, a potential option. And then Levier, the Sea Dragon, because you actually are banishing a lot of your level 4 lower monsters in order to get your continue your plays. So this will actually add more plays on top of those plays, on top of those plays, and on top of those plays. Next, we're going to go ahead and go into our links. 2 Surge's Skull Dreads. You only really need one to actually make anything happen, but the second one is actually just kind of nice. That's all there is to it. And then 1 Absolute Appaloosa Bowl of the Goddess. Damn, I'm messing up words. Anywho, because negations. Anyways, next is Crystron Halka for backs because you are running tuners, you are making some plays. Tour guide can search out your level 3 Fiend tuner. Going into this, it ain't no big deal. And then as an added bonus, because you can still do crazy stuff with this deck, and you can alter this in any way, form you wish. Cherubini, Ebon, Angel of the Burning Abyss. Send the level 3 monster from your deck to graveyard. You can make more plays. Typically, you're sending off Fiendish Rhino or Archfiend Harris. My bad. I couldn't brain. And then 1 Link Ross because this deck isn't complete without the Crystron Haka for backs Link Cross plays. I actually would think that if you do this right, you can actually replace maybe one of these or replace Infernity Patriarch. Put in Mecha Phantom Beast. What was it called? Here, let me do this right in recording. It is called... Oh, yeah. Mecha Phantom Beast Coatwing, and then you can actually replace a card in here with Auroradon and make even more plays. In fact, you can even replace one of the randomizers to get a different level 1 tuner, even though Infernity Archfiend or Infernity Avenger, I'm sorry, could be that level 1. Despot 001 could be another. Yeah, that adds a couple of Garnets into the deck, but it is something to look into. And then a side deck, I went in for Triple Nibiru because that's pretty standard. Since there's so many darks in this deck, there's Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon, and in case your opponent's playing a pure dark deck, then or majority dark deck, it kind of works itself out. And then 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp because who knows, you may be playing someone with darks but different types than what you're playing. That's also a possibility, and plus it's level 4, so it makes it easier to go into synchros or what have you with this card. Triple Twin Twisters. I put this one over Cosmic Cyclone because Infernities need to have empty hands, so plus it's just 2 spell and traps instead of just the 1, even though Cosmic Cyclone also banishes. It was more of one of those lose some, win some, or just lose some, win some in a different scenario. So Twin Twisters was actually my go-to choice. And then because I'm running the 2 fusions in the side, triple super polymerization. Next is triple evenly matched because there are going to be some decks that are going to swarm it out. This deck can play through a couple of hand traps. I've done it. But going second evenly matched is kind of like your go-to so that you can play through maybe 1 or 2 negates going main phase 2 and that. and such. There are still some trap heavy decks I've noticed, even though Harpy Feathers Duster's back. So I'm just citing Red Reboot. You can cite in something else entirely different. I'm actually not going to show any replays this time. I'm not even going to show any test hands this time. I'm just going to simply say how I would rate this deck. In terms of usability, I'd give it anywhere for a 3 to a 4-star. Consistency, I'd give it actually a 5-star chip, because this deck has not failed me once in terms of a hand. So I'm playing it. I would actually bring this to a locals. In terms of power, I would actually give it a 3-star chip. And in terms of playing through negations, I'd give it also a 3-star chip, because there are some of those hands where I could probably try to bait out something. I don't bait it out. I lose my normal summon, and then I'm pretty much dead in the water. Thankfully, there are some extenders in the deck that replaces that, making maybe a 3.5-star chip instead of a 3-star chip. But if you don't have those extenders, or any way of searching those extenders out after your initial negates, then the deck kind of falls short. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the deck. I kind of enjoy it. I'd probably work more on it if I could, but I'm still waiting on to next week's deck challenge from Mimikyu. If you want to be a part of that deck challenge, follow me on Twitch, and where a link in the description will be down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!